The late 80s and early 90s had a weird relationship with children's cartoons. You had the Toxic Crusaders, which was an adaptation of the very not-for-children trauma films. You had Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, an adaptation of another B-movie horror series. And among all of these grown-up products turned into children's products, you also had grown-up concepts turned into children's concepts. Inspector Gadget taught kids that ineptitude in the workplace is fine so long as someone else covers the work for you, even if it does involve child labour and potential nepotism. Green Claws taught us that if you stick a random seed in a plant pot and shove it inside a tree, you'll grow any plant you can think of. And Captain Planet taught us that blue dudes with green mullets are the only way forward to saving the planet. Also, it had an episode about AIDS, so there's that. Captain Planet in general was a cartoon that everyone my age sort of watched, but no one particularly loved it. It felt like it was tricking you into watching it by being a cartoon, but it was actually learning about things. Gross. As with all popular things at the time, it spawned a number of games, including a ZX Spectrum title, and also, side fact, the name Duke Nukem was the name of one of the bad guys, and is the reason why the video game Duke Nukem was originally spelt Nukum. Anyway, landing in 1991 and selling for a whopping £10.99 or £15.99 for the disc version, the ZX Spectrum version takes the form of a side-scrolling shooter. The game initially begins with a forward-moving bonus game where you're supposed to collect clocks to increase the amount of time you have to complete a stage. After over 15 attempts at this section, I still couldn't quite get the hang of the collision detection, but it didn't seem to matter all that much because I was generally dead before the time ran out anyway. And death is something that you're probably going to get used to pretty quickly in this game because it's going to throw everything it has at you from the word go. There are times when there is so much shit flying around on the screen, the frame rate does not know what to do with itself. I'm not sure if Captain Clusterfuck would have been a more apt name. The enemies you'll find in your path are the usual affair of random sprites, but you'll also come across missile silos which you need to avoid with careful timing. Along the way you'll find balloons, which Captain Planet apparently wants to collect for himself. These will net you a few points, and smashing your way through satellite dishes will net you some more points as well. Keep your eyes peeled for any pickups along the way too, as these can give you extra lives or a screen-wiping special attack. At the midpoint of Stage 1, you'll come across a boss which you'll have to contend with alongside the normal swarm of enemies you were already dealing with. This boss, his cacophony of bullets, the swarms of enemies, and Captain Planet's own laser blast cause the game to chug along so badly that it's almost headache-inducing. The game is hard enough without giving me a migraine to go along with it. The game continues from there in much the same fashion, although I only know this after watching footage of the game being completed, because after 3 hours of failed attempts, I haven't made it past the first level. The sheer amount of shit on the screen makes for a cluttered bullet hell style game that the hardware just can't keep up with, and as Captain Planet can only fire one shot at a time, if your aim is off, you're left defenseless until the laser blast goes off screen. It's a shame that the difficulty wasn't toned down a notch, but I suspect that has a lot to do with the fact that there are only 3 levels. 3 levels in a game that cost over a tenner, and I bet the game isn't even recyclable, you hypocritical bastards. If the difficulty had been turned down from 11, I suspect that this would actually be an above-average side-scrolling arcade knockabout. The graphics are fairly impressive, and the lack of colour clash, considering the absolute carnage on screen, should be commended. But it's just not a great deal of fun. It's awkward to control, it kicks your ass every way but Sunday, and if you've got the skills required to get through all of this, the game can be completed in around 10 minutes anyway. I am fully aware that my lack of skill on this one could be completely souring my opinion of the game, and there's probably a few folk out there who would actually get a decent kick out of it. It's not a complete write-off by any means, but it's certainly not for me. If you do end up playing this one and getting through to the end, well, more power to you.
We're the Planeteers. You can be one too, 'cause